Hello and welcome to episode 106 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch. My esteemed colleague Justin is across the pond, as they say. He's enjoying life in Scotland at the moment. So there's almost too much esteem in here now. I've got two even more esteemed colleagues here. Uh, Big Pat, how are you tonight, sir?
Couldn't be better. Any better, I'd be twins, my friend.
I love that. And the laugh you just heard is the one and only Tommy Turndogs. Tom, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Honored to be here tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this. It's always a little more interesting when we kind of expand, the back nine six pack universe here. You guys have almost been characters on the show. People have heard the names Tommy Turndogs and Big Pat for a while, so I'm glad to introduce you guys to the audience here. Um, but yeah, so if you are here, please, as always, subscribe, like, review. We appreciate all that stuff. Follow us on social media at back nine six pack. We did get a little bit of fan mail. Have a couple of the fans here. They can get their fan mail in person now. So we'll get to that later in the show as well. But for now, I know Tom and Pat are both golf sickos like Justin and I are. We had a big tournament this weekend, the PGA Championship. We're going to put that on hold for just a moment. Um, Something we always do when we have guests on, we always ask, what's your golf story, right? So that could be how'd you get into the game, all the way through like where it has taken you throughout life, what it means to you. Anything and everything is open here. So, Pat, if you don't mind leading us off, I'd love to hear more about your golf story.
Well, as you will find, Tom and I are very parallel on our golf stories. At least that I think I'm speaking for him. Okay on that. Always being a competitive athlete. Always played ball through high school. Played football and track in college. Um, got out of college. Played very high level softball. Traveled the country. Could hit a softball pretty good. And that's where Tom and I became friends, actually, uh, through church ball and playing some competitive ball. And then when those days were over for us, golf became our thing to scratch our competitive itch. Um, I really played golf because he played golf, and I tell him all the time he's the better, more pure. He's the real golfer.
Stop it. Stop it.
100% true. I've learned to just play with the ability that I have and just try to make my swing out of what I know I can do. And it looks like a Frankenstein's monster, but it gets me around the course pretty good. And I live by the if you can't play well, play fast. So I always move it around. But I, just being an athlete, I've worked on it myself because it's just something I want to. Damn, it's the only sport where the ball's not moving. It's the hardest one to hit, and that's what gets me, drives me batty with it. But yeah, I love being out there with my friends, meeting new friends, and just being outside in the good weather, man. So that's my golf story, and I guess I'm like the people that listen, and you fellas, I've got the bug, and I enjoy it, and I try to get out there as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you come to it pretty late in life, or did you
Oh
play when
yeah.
you were a kid?
No, no, not at all. Golf was not even a thing for me at all, at all.
Gotcha.
So, yep,
Yeah, that's not an unfamiliar story, right? Like tons of people that competed on different fields and stages or whatever come to golf later in life, and it becomes that obsession that kind of fills that void.
yep.
I do have one other question for you. What's the 5-4 from?
So that's been my jersey number.
Gotcha.
So all through school and college, and so it kind of just caught on, and everybody calls me. They just call me 5'4". So if
Yeah.
you hear somebody holler 5'4", that's kind of turned into my nickname. So big 5'4", 5'4". It's very. If someone says big 54, that's because that means they probably just met me or haven't heard it used as a nickname yet. So, but if you would hear Tommy if I hit a gum or something, he'd be like 5'4". It'd be like that. So that's the 5'4" story.
Well, I'm glad I used it appropriately then. Didn't call you 54, so I guess I'm in the circle that way.
You're in. You are in.
Also very cool with the, application for golf. Obviously, you get 5 net 4, you work that in as well.
And
So,
I actually have one of those hats a buddy bought me from Club Pro Guy.
yep. Amazing. All right, Tom, same question to you. Let's hear it.
Yeah, the genesis of my golf story goes back a little further. I didn't grow up in a golf family. My dad didn't play golf, so golf really wasn't a thing. If it involved a ball, I played it,
Yeah.
growing up, but golf just wasn't a thing. And but I loved to watch it on TV, even as a, 10, 11, 12-year-old kid. And I thought, man, I wonder if I could do that. So for a birthday, I got a set of golf clubs. My dad was still playing softball at the time. There was a par 3 course connected to the place where he played ball. And so he dropped me and a buddy off at the golf course and go play his games and then come back and pick us up. So I literally taught myself how to swing a golf club, just beating it around a par 3. And, limited access to the game, just time and money. I chose a career path that you're not getting in my career path to make big bucks. So there was limited budget. So I was basically for most of my 20s and 30s, played limited just because limited time, limited money, but still had a love for the game. As I got older and that changed a little bit, we started playing a little bit more. And, as the kids got older, golf just became more and more a part of my life. Um, you know, kind of peaked, I think, at the beginning of last year when I realized, all right, kids are fully gone and not coming back. I just married my daughter off, and I'm like, man, what am I gonna? She played college soccer, so even after high school, we spent 4 years, chasing her, at least in the fall. And so I decided, my story's somewhat documented here. I think just build a bag from the ground up and join the Elks and played more golf last summer than I'd played in the previous probably 4 years, at least 3 years. I'd never played competitively, so playing in the league, playing in, a tournament, playing it down, all those kinds of things was kind of the first experience for me. Um,
And we were nervous wrecks too, by the way.
Dude, it took me the whole first session to where I could play and not have, it felt like just playing with, buddies.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's most of my story, I suppose. Um, but love the game, and I'm thankful that I'm at a spot where I'm still healthy enough to play and still can hit it pretty good, and so it's been fun, it's been good.
Yeah, I think I can remember last spring, I guess it would be one of the first few weeks of the league. I think you and I were paired together.
Yep.
Uh, and I remember you just talking about like you were making this reinvestment in your game. You were picking it back up for all the reasons you just explained. Thought you played pretty well that night. I think you beat me. I was so bad in league last year. But yeah, like, and then flash forward to the summer Stampede time, which is, our big member for those that listen. And I think that's kind of where Tommy Turndogs is a little bit born. I mean, there's probably more of a backstory. You had the shirt. Can you talk about the turn dog thing a little bit?
Yeah, it's a crazy story. So Pat's son Griffin decided to play in the Met. He's a really good golfer, and he asked me to caddy for him. And we went down to play a practice round, and I saw the shirt in the pro shop, and I was like, dude, I need that shirt because the Turn Dog's infamous, not just around the golf course; it's infamous in our group as well. And I didn't buy it, so when we were there to caddy for him, I'm like, I'm not leaving this pro shop a second time without buying that shirt. So I ended up buying it, and we're chatting on, Saturday night, what are you wearing tomorrow? And we don't really have anything that matches. That wasn't a thing for us. And I was like, I think I'm going Turn Dog. So it was kind of it was kind of a last minute decision. And, you know, I don't even know how it caught on in the gallery. I don't know how all that happened, but here we are.
Well, I can tell you that was my partner Gunth started that one. The guy's an electric nickname giver. He had people out there last year calling Greg Helmkamp Third Leg Greg for part of the Stampede. So yeah, that if you ever hear the cheers from the crowd, it's probably coming from his mouth, and that is how Tommy Turndogs was born and lives on in infamy today. So it's
That's a lot of fun.
yeah, super funny that it's kind of like two worlds colliding. You bought a shirt and here you are. So
Yeah.
all right, well that's great. That's awesome. I guess one other question for you guys, just in terms of golf story stuff. Pat, I'll go to you first. Like, what is your earliest golf memory?
Oh man. Sheesh. I don't know
I
if
can
I
give you a
have
few
a
minutes to think about it. I'll jump
like.
in.
Sure.
Yeah, you do that. You have some memories. I don't have anything like that.
Yeah, I have very like core memories of playing that par three. I mean, I can remember good shots. I can remember holes that I played. I can remember first par. I can remember first good drives, first crisp, upper iron, 6 iron. I have really vivid core memories of moments where I was like actually learning how to hit the golf. Not just bang it down the fairway, but like
Yeah.
hit like that looks like a golf shot. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, so pretty cool memories of that course. I could see the holes and be drawn pretty quickly back to some of those early memories.
That helped me a little bit. So, but I would say, so for me, Tom kind of talked about how his dad, like golf wasn't a thing in our family. My dad was a teacher and a coach, and he had an old set of clubs that would sit in the back corner of the garage all year until the one year for the football like athletic outing to raise money. And I grew up in Lebanon. He coached and we lived in Lebanon. I went to Lebanon, and so our little 9-hole course there is Harmon Golf Course in Lebanon. And so my first memory, I went to a garage sale so I could get myself a set of clubs. And I had a driver, 3 wood, 5 wood, back in that time, everything came in those little sets, right? There was a set. And I was so proud of those, man. I cleaned those things up, and I shot a 43 at Harmon, which is it's not long. It's just there. And I remember telling my dad I shot a 43, and he said that's bullshit. Because if my dad broke 50, that was a win. And I said, Dad, I shot a 43, and he goes, there's no way you can hit a 43. That's my first memory of playing golf, and I probably walked it with a buddy at that time just for fun because like I said, it wasn't a thing for me, and it was my garage sale clubs,
Oh,
and I shot a 43. So that was amazing. I remember that.
And
God.
Mitch, this just proves one thing that everyone needs to know about this man. He has a clutch gene that it's a superpower, man.
Yeah,
Superpower.
I look. This is another reference to Gunther, but I feel the same way about him. Like it's just something about when you're an athlete, you can just make stuff happen.
Yep,
Yeah, man,
absolutely.
that is great. I love the garage sale clubs to the 43. That's so good.
100%. Yeah, I
Oh
remember that. That would be my first memory of it.
man. All right. Well, from the past to today, I know you guys always ask such great questions about just the way that Justin and I, whatever, we just have microphones. We're not the best players. He's a little better than I am, of course, but I love your guys' questions. You're always sending in great like golf questions, just like real sicko of the game. How am I getting better? That kind of stuff. So I just kind of want to take a moment. We can just chat a little state of the golf game here. We're pretty early in our season here in Ohio. Um, so I have a couple questions down here. So first off, let's just start off current handicaps. Tom, I'll toss it to you first.
Yeah, current handicap, I think Pat, you looked today, was it 9.8,
Uh,
9.8?
yeah, 9-8.
Yeah, and Mitch, I had never been a single digit handicap before. I got down to 9.1. I think that my low was 9.1. I think that was sometime in October. So it's a little up. Um, but
He's right on that fluctuation point of his scores.
Yep. Yeah, I'm there too. Mine's up as well right now. I've it's stated on this podcast I want to get down to a 5 something. I was at a 6.8 at the end of last year. Had a couple good scores drop off recently, and I've ballooned up to a 7.8. So
yeah,
I'm with you. It's like you get one good score out of there, all of a sudden you're up a full shot.
yep.
So Pat, how about you?
So our goal together, because we are freakishly, our games look totally different. We get to the green totally different. We putt totally different. But at the end, we're going to be within 2 strokes of each other.
Yeah.
It's uncanny how it happens. I swear. But our goal was to be single digit. We wanted to try to be single digits.
Yep.
And I got there last year as well. I got to the low of an 8.5 when we were peaking in the summertime because I had a few real like good scores. And then I've been hovering. Tom was 9. I think we were both 9.2 and 9.3. So he went to 9.8, and I got a 79 the night before last, and that put me to 8.6. So my low, because we use the Grint app in
Yeah.
conjunction with the gin, and it shows like my low ever was 8.5, like I said. So I'm at 8.6 right now. So I'm trending in the right direction, but it also is it makes me feel a little more pressure, a little more
Well, and
stress.
here's the key. Funny story, Mitch. Pat shows up at he has these two old Callaway clubs he's hit. He's a 3 wood and a 9 wood, and he just murders them. He's hit them for a long time.
Mhm.
And so
Steelheads.
he
They're
shows
old.
up he shows up at the golf course with a new Titleist driver, new to him. So it's a couple years old, but new to him, new hazardous shaft. He's ready to go, right? And he's striping this thing, but it's in play. There's no question where it's going to be, right? I forget what you shot that day or that night, Pat, and we were walking to the car, and I said, "Leave this golf course right now and go somewhere and buy the Titleist mini driver, put the same shaft in it, the grip you like. I guarantee you it will change everything for you." And he's flirted with 70s, with one exception, every time he's played since.
I,
Jeez.
I can swing a 3 wood swing. When I swing a driver swing, I absolutely lose my brain. My mind is just I can't do it. I mean, obviously I can do it, and when I do, it's impressive. But when it's not, the old Tractor Supply ball we talk about,
Yep.
yeah, they better put the hard hats on over there for me.
Oh, look, we've all done it. It's I'm no stranger to that myself. So,
Yeah,
um,
Mitch, you were talking about the state of the game. I'll give it to you in two stories. So back-to-back weekends, I was standing on the 16th tee box or standing in the 16th fairway, +7, +8, and finished bogey, bogey, double both days.
oh,
So 79, 80 goes to 83, 84. So
yeah,
that's why I'm a 9-9 or 9-8.
yeah. No, I feel that so deeply in my soul, to be honest with you. Uh, okay. So yeah, that's handicap stuff. Huge question here. What are you working on currently? I don't know, Pat, Tom, whoever wants to go first can take that one, but
Go ahead.
You know, Mitch, most of the golf goals that I set this year weren't numeric,
yeah,
and one of them was to hit less uncommitted golf shots. I feel like in kind of post-mortem, post-shot routine, when you get right down to it, it's just swinging a golf club and not being committed to whatever piece of that shot is. You know what I mean? Target,
yep,
ball contact, low point of the swing, whatever it might be, just and you hit a wayward one and you start thinking, what happened there? When you get on the other side of the emotion of it, you realize, gosh, that was just an uncommitted swing. I wasn't committed to hitting the shot that I had planned, and I got that result. So, that's I think that's one of the keys that for me, and honestly, man, a lot of that happens for me around the green in bunkers,
hmm.
chip shots. I mean, I had a stretch a couple of weeks ago where I lost 11 shots and they traveled less than 10 yards total.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
just committing to it and then hit the shot.
Hmm.
yeah. I so I have 3 things that I'm working on. These are my personal little things. I know I'm not. I don't want to make it sound like 3 big things. One was just try not to lose a ball when I play, or try to lose a ball. So I know that's a little simple, but for me, that I always consider that's like my game within the game, right?
Yep,
Try to play that ball, whether it be a good score or bad score. Just try to play that little ball. The second one for me was I want to be a 2 putter guy. I want to be able to putt it and then make it, and I think I have the skill level to do that. I am working on what Tom always calls the speed test. If we are all the way across the green, try to get that speed right where you're not just blowing it by or just going halfway there. That's
Yeah.
frustrating. That's my other little second um, game within the game for me. But so the true skill thing that I'm working on, I, long irons are a trouble spot for me. That 175 to 195 par three, I have to be very careful not to really lose the ball right, but still be able to get impact. So I'm working on trying to control those long iron shots.
Mm. God, those are all four of those are great. Pat, you kind of mentioned it before. You guys will often shoot a similar score, but you get there different ways. Question I didn't ask either of you is just like what generally like what is your game like? Like what are you good at? What do you struggle with? That kind of
I
thing.
think Tom would agree with me on this one. Depends on what day of the week it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
how we start.
Well, I can answer mine very clearly. When you look in the Grint app and the Insights page, it gives you a handicap for every category, like putting, scrambling, driver, approach. I'm maybe missing a category too. So everything, lost balls like penalty strokes.
hmm
So there's only two categories that are outside of 7 or better handicap, and some of them are like penalty shots, like plus handicap. But driver, which I think is a little bit of a misnomer, because you can hit driver and not be in a fairway and still have a really good shot to the green. So
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
I kind of throw that one out, because I'm not losing balls off the tee. One of my core philosophies, if I can hit it again after I hit a tee shot, I'm fine with it, no matter
Yeah.
where it is. But for me, I'm a 29 handicap scrambling. So getting
Mhm.
up and down more. And I don't even think it's like every time. It's just one or two more times around, and there's your 7 handicap, right?
Yep.
and I think my numbers in that the scrambling piece in the short game is what saves me. I
Gotcha.
I I I I don't really feel like I'm that good at it, but I do it well on the for the scorecard. Usually it'll save me for a one putt and like that, but yeah, same. And yeah, no plug for the for the Grint app, but we've been using that for several years, and I don't know, it works real easy for our golf friends, and man, it takes a lot of data and will spit out about as much as you want.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask about that. I might have to get involved because I just this year, one of my goals, I didn't say it was a goal, but I created a spreadsheet for myself just to like actually track all my stats.
Tommy
And I'm like,
Turndogs got one.
I was like, man, I don't know if I like really can commit fully to this, but if there's an app that's I love that the insights thing you're talking about, Tom, where it like actually takes what you're putting in and gives you like an insight to what you really are struggling with. Because it's so easy to play that narrative in your head of what you think you're bad at or whatever.
Yeah. But when you've got 5 years of data in there, and then you can break it down by year, and so there's lots of ways to kind of dice up the data. And what I do, Mitch, I probably look silly carrying, kind of a scorebook in my back pocket, but I don't like to have my phone out on the phone.
Yeah.
So I pencil all my stats in, and then when I get home, I enter the data. But man, to be able to look at it over, especially the last 2 years, kind of throwing out previous seasons, if you will, where I'd really kind of committed to the game.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to look at, and I think it's created some really clear, like, hey, this is where you got to improve. This is where you need to, if you're going to get out to the golf course and practice, this is where you should be spending most or a majority of your time.
God, now I wish I had a time machine to go back and have 3 years of data from
It's
now, especially with doing the speed training and stuff. Like my game has just
yeah.
changed a little bit this year. I haven't seen it all quite yet because I've only played a few rounds, but like I know I would have different data for this year than the past, 3 years. So, but man,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to dig that out and look at it for sure.
Yep.
Whew. Okay, so yeah, we kind of covered goals, what we're working on, all that stuff. Anything else largely about your golf game you just want to get out there? Because I do have one question after that, but just how are you feeling about golf? Whatever's on your mind.
Well, just an update, man. I didn't play golf until April 17th last year, physically at a course. I hit balls a few times. Obviously, I got fitted. Uh, and I think I've added a few rounds on the calendar for this week. We're going to be pushing toward 500 holes already. So
Whew.
we're way ahead of pace. I think last year we played what, Pat? 1100, about
We
55 rounds or so.
because we were trying and we were tracking. So yeah,
That's impressive,
And
especially given the weather.
full disclosure, I played twice in February in Florida when my wife and I were down there to see her parents, and then we did a boys trip in April. Well, we did Disney. We did the parks 2 days, and we played all 3 golf courses with our sons, which was an absolute blast. So that's five. That's 5 of those rounds. But you know, um, we were in a golf tournament in April, and it was freezing cold.
that
So
was Apple
that's
Valley. That was home of hole in one number 2 for Tommy
And
Turndogs.
that was
Come
going to be
on.
my next question. We got to get to the aces. Anything else on your end, though, Pat?
No, I just love being out there. Really have found a home at the club. We
yeah,
really like
100%.
it
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I've been there for 6 years. I got in pre-COVID because I wanted a place for my son to be able to play
Mm-hmm.
and always be able to go hit and everything. Because he Griffin actually he's a pretty good player, but I wanted a good safe place for him to be able to play and always be able to get on as he was coming out of junior high and high school. But I really didn't start. Tom and I did the league last year. When I got him in, my best friend to come, then it was a lot more attractive for me to go and do more things. And um, I think our goal was to, know 15, 20 names last year. And I
Right.
think we've done that very well. I mean, we're saying hi to people on, league night and at the scrambles and any of the MGA events and things like that. So that was really the goal. So really liking the Elks for all that.
Yeah, doing men's league is like a cheat code for that. I joined the year of COVID, and luckily golf became one of the things you could do. Um, so yeah, like I somehow during that time when a lot of people's social networks shrunk, mine grew a little bit during then. So
Yeah.
it's been really cool. League has grown a lot. The last since I joined, we had we'd have 30 guys playing whatever. I mean, you're up to almost 60 every single week now. It's pretty crazy. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
cool.
now we gotta get to the hole in ones. Tom, it's Justin's still chasing his, so this is a sticking point for him. Anytime he feels like there's aces happening around him all the time. So the fact you've had 2 in the last 2 years, is that correct?
2 and 6 months.
2 in 6 months.
It's
Give us a
crazy,
story for
man.
both of them.
Oh,
I love these stories.
Yeah, so we were Pat's nephews, part of a baseball organization that hosted a tournament at Turtle Creek Country Club in
little
Columbus.
turtle
Oh,
country
yeah.
club.
Sorry, Little Turtle. And it was our 18th hole.
Oh
It was a
man.
par three up the hill. And for whatever reason, Pat's getting ginger ale from the cart girl, which is just hilarious. But
That's true.
it was an elevated hole, so we could see it hit the green, but it was on the back right side of the greens, so we couldn't see the hole, so we had
Yeah.
no clue. In our group, if you hit a really good ball, you say that's a golf shot. So
Mhm.
that was spoken on the tee box, and it landed in the middle of the green and was working its way to the hole. But when we got up there, I was riding with Pat's son Griffin, and I'm looking at the hole, and I'm like, "Where's my ball? Did it roll all the way through the green?" And when Griffin walked past where it would have been, like on the backside of like the rough, because the grass was pretty thick, so you couldn't see any balls laying there. And I'm like, I, I'm sitting there and I'm having like this surreal moment, like that ball's in the hole. There's nowhere else for it to be. If it's not behind the green, it's in the hole. And he looks down in there and it's just pandemonium in
Chaos.
there.
I mean, we
Oh,
just erupted. Yeah, it
unbelievable.
was unbelievable.
So what
Well,
was
and the
the
good news
yardage in the
is,
club?
yeah, I hit 6 iron. I think it was 180. I think I was playing 184 that day,
It
maybe
was it was 100.
186.
It was a 180 something. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
180,
legit.
184. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. The good news is we're playing in an outing. We were one of the last groups to come in off the golf course, so it didn't cost me $1. Uh, Griffin can't drink yet. Pat had to drive. The other guy we were playing with doesn't drink, so literally cost me nothing.
Oh man. All right, so the second one's Apple Valley. What's the
Hey,
story with
can
the
I
Patio
can
Beers?
I add one little backstory to that though?
Sure.
Because being his best friend, I can always give you the jabs, right? So my father-in-law is one of the major sponsors of this New Albany baseball team.
Hmm.
So he had his insurance company had prizes on the holes. One of the holes was $10,000. You've seen that before,
Sure.
cash. The one Tom wins was was like was like
A smoker.
it was a
It was a
green one of those
smoker.
green egg, those green egg smokers.
Yeah.
So not only did the guy get a hole one, he goes, man, couldn't it have been a hole where I won, 10,000? I'm like, you had a hole in one in an outing where you did win something and got a hole in one, and he wanted the 10 grand too. So just
Hey, if
Well,
you do it, you want the full thing. I get it. I get it.
well,
it
I
was
did.
awesome.
I did
Oh,
parlay the $500 gift card to Home Depot into a really nice griddle. So
Yeah,
yeah, there you
so
go.
that worked out. Yeah,
yeah, the second one we were at a 16-man 2-team Ryder Cup event. We were in the Pat, I don't remember, was that the 2-man or the scramble portion? I can't remember if it was the 2-man or the scramble portion. You know what? It might have been. It was
it.
alternate shot.
I thought it was 2-man scramble, so everybody had a shot at it.
Yeah, I think it might. You might be right. You might be right about it being a scramble. Really cool hole. It was a par three over a small pond.
Like
120 on
120,
the
yeah, 120,
120 on the
122.
scorecard.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was playing 115 that day, but the green sits back to front elevated, so all the balls collect out on the front right of the green.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I hit a 52 degree wedge in, and I kind of hit it a little flatter. So when it hit, it skipped forward and right, bounced once, and then disappeared. So the first one I didn't get to see, and the second one, like it was like a slow
Perfect view.
motion. It's like a
Yeah.
slow motion movie. Of course, chaos ensued, and that one cost me. I think I won $80 for the closest to the hole, and spent $80 buying pitchers of beer. So it was a wash that day.
Yeah.
Man. Well, apparently you just have to play in more events. That's your key to these aces.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
unfortunately, I haven't had one when I've played my own ball. I might shoot in the 70s that day.
This is where Justin would say, "Shut up." Unfortunately, I didn't have one of my own balls. Shut up.
Uh,
Yeah,
and I mean,
yeah.
it is
So
cool you've had him in those scenarios though. Like mine last year, thankful I have one. It was just me and my buddy Tyler, Tyler in Tampa for those that listen. And I saw it and I thought it went in, but he didn't quite see it. It was on hole 3 white at the Elks.
yeah,
And so it just one hopped and dropped, and it was kind of like a little bit of an unceremonious moment. There was no one around, like it was pretty tame. So yeah, and then we didn't even have enough people up at the patio there to really spend the full allotment for the MGA hole in one insurance. They let me roll it over, but then I don't know if you guys were there that week. Mike Henley made a hole in one in Wednesday night league, and kind of overshadowed my hole in one, my hole in one celebration as well. So.
gotcha. So tell me more about this insurance. What's that mean?
So the MGA, you by being a member, you get I think it's like $160 or something of hole in one insurance. So they cover your tab up to a certain amount.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
We're
that's good
already,
to know.
if we pay MGA dues, we're already in that. We already
Yes.
have that covered. It's not a little separate fee you got to put in.
Nope. That's
Oh,
part of your
first,
membership.
first I heard of that, Tom. Didn't know
So
about that
That's
one.
awesome. Glad I asked.
yeah, there you go.
You're gonna need
Why?
it, Pat.
Why? You got plans?
Well, I didn't have plans for the other two, and they showed up.
Yeah, Tom, you might need to watch out though, because you do it in the events. If you do that during the Stampede or the McGonigal or something, that might be an expensive day.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Oh man. All right, good. I'm glad we got those on the record. Especially, hey Justin, if you're listening over in Scotland, I hope you are. Maybe you'll make an ace over there, buddy. That's all we can say.
That would
Yeah,
be
we're
great.
we're we're
I'm
pulling we're
rooting for
pulling
him
for
for that.
that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
that
Yeah,
would
man.
be a fantastic story. Okay, well, I think that does it for our golf. I think now we can take a little look at the PGA Championship, do some recapping of that. Scotty Scheffler won. Pretty sick.
So good.
Won by 5 shots. He was the only guy double digits under par. He was 8th off the tee, 8th on approach, 5th around the green. All of that added up to being first tee to green. And then 25th in putting. If Scotty's going to do that to you, you're probably losing that week. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
So good.
pretty wild. Did you guys get to catch much?
I watched it on the replay last night. We put
Oh, that's
in
right.
an emergency 27 yesterday. So
Yeah, I did the same. I think I watched the last 3 or 4 holes on recording. Saw him celebrate on the green.
Yeah.
Super happy for him, man. Just good guy. Just obviously he's a family man.
what a good
His
champion to have.
his
Yeah.
moment with his son at the scores table,
Yeah.
just I mean, just all time dad vibes. Just super cool.
Yeah. Bennett Scheffler kind of stole the show from everybody afterwards. He was doing the rounds on social media. It was all Bennett. So, like you guys mentioned, 3rd career major for Scotty. His other 2 being at the Masters, of course. Kind of nice for him to like, quote unquote, validate it by winning away from Augusta. Some people might question, is it Quail Hollow? It's a regular tour track, but I kind of feel like we could be in for another summer of Scotty here. It feels like he's past the injury, past the rust. Some good venues here that he could, really do some damage on.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any chance that he doesn't get the career grand slam at some point. He's just too young. He's too good. He's gonna win more for sure.
Yeah, that's I don't want to be talking crazy or anything, but there's a chance he could do it this year. I mean, Oakmont,
Yeah, he absolutely can.
Oakmont and
Sure can.
Portrush. I mean, it's not like those are. I wouldn't put him out of it on either of those courses by any means. So, he is. Oh, I forgot to mention too. 2 Players Championships and an Olympic gold medal. So like, he like truly is going to have one of the most like if he gets the career Grand Slam, this is like one of the best golf resumes you could really have. Honestly.
Yeah, yeah. You're talking about getting in Tiger status. I mean, obviously Tiger's on a whole nother level, but what he's done in such a few amount of starts is, I mean, it's been an elite run.
Yeah, he's a note 3rd fastest player since 1950 to get to 15 PGA Tour wins, and that's only behind Tiger and Jack. So, yeah, he's doing it, and he's doing it in historic fashion. Outside of that, top 5 notables felt like everybody else just kind of like really blew up, especially on the Green Mile. Specifically, John Rahm. We can get to him in a moment, but T2 for Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau, and Davis Riley. T5 for Taylor Pendrith, Johnny Vegas, who was the first round leader, and JT Poston. The notable section here, T8 for Neiman, Joaquin Neiman, first top 10 in a major in his career. Kind of
Oh, wow.
backdoored his way into it. I think he posted early, and then everyone else kind of faded, so he like climbed the board while not playing. But yeah, it could be a monkey off his back. That's something to watch there. And then John Rahm finished T8 as well after being within. He had a putt to take the lead, I think, on like 13 or so.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I think he played the Green Mile in like 5 or 6 over. Just horrible finish from him. But good to see him back in the mix. Couple others. T28 for the defending champion, Xander Schauffele. That was our one and done pick this week. We'll get to one and done in a moment. But of course, we never threaten for anything. We just cash checks. T47 for Rory. As a Rory fan, you guys know that I'm a big Rory fan. This was like a really disappointing week, to be honest. I had high hopes. I know the driver thing happened. That's something else we can talk about. I don't think that's the reason why. But I would not be doing my job as a fan. If I'm going to defend him, I'm going to have to call him out. This was like set up perfect for him, and just to basically no show was, like I said, highly disappointing.
Yeah, did you see he skipped out on the media as well?
Yeah, I saw that all 4 days, and I don't understand that at all. Like, it wasn't like
Yeah.
I'm not aware of anything that could have happened that would have caused that.
Yeah, I didn't hear any backstory, but as the current Masters champion, I think he's probably got to sit in that room and answer at least a few questions.
100%. Yeah, I mean, he did the lead up media stuff, but yeah, after every round, no media appearance for him. That was really bizarre. I'm curious if we hear anything else about that. And then let's see, we got T50 for Colin Morikawa. His season seems to be going backwards now after contending pretty early in a lot of events. him too with the media stuff. So who knows what's going on there. T60 from Max Homa. Disappointing because he got in the mix on Friday.
He was doing so well.
Yeah, on a track that he knows and has won at. Yeah, he made a real run on Friday that was really impressive. I thought he might stick around and was not to be. And then I've got a. Go ahead.
I saw a club throw on social media. Was that from this weekend?
So I heard about this. I haven't seen it yet. Was that him?
Yeah, he just chucked an iron. But I wasn't sure if that was like old or if that was actually from this weekend.
It may have been based on his score.
Yeah.
And then I've got a whole host of MCs. Really disappointing weeks for a lot of guys. Spieth missed a cut on the number. Wasn't expecting much from him, but JT coming in playing as good as he's played to miss the cut is he was the defending champion on this course.
Yeah, agreed.
A lot of people liked him, including myself. That was bad. Hideki seems like he's always under the radar at majors, but also like this is another track he contended in the one that JT won. Like it felt like a good setup for him. The list goes on. Ludwig, Cantlay, Brooks, just not even close. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out Michael Block, who said he would have played better if there were more fans out there. That was his quote of the week. So,
oh gosh, did you guys see the pic of Brooks in Quick Trip standing in line with a 24-pack of Gold Tops?
Amazing. Look, at least he picked the right brand of beer. I'll give him that. Also, surprised though. I maybe the Michelob Ultra relationship's dead, but he used to be a Mich Ultra guy.
Yeah, so funny, man.
Oh, but yeah, that's a true one of us moment. So yeah, that's kind of just like the high level, the names that people may know. But I do have a little segment for us to do here. Justin and I did a buy or sell beforehand, doing a little bit of a twist on that this time, calling it deal or no deal. Shout out to Howie Mandel. Basically, I'm going to just read a statement here. You guys tell me if it's actually a deal or if it's not a deal at all, right? Pat, you can lead off. So, Scotty's first non-Masters major win. Is this a deal or no deal?
That's a deal. I'm not even thinking that's a deal.
Yeah, 100%. He's getting the slam, calling it. Maybe not this year, but he's getting it.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
I'm fully on board with both of you guys. That's to me, it's a big deal. I don't know that he really cared as much as everybody else did, but it was a big talking point that he, a lot of his wins are on tracks he's familiar with. Obviously, the two majors being at the Masters at Augusta. Not a monkey off the back, but it's significant, I think.
Absolutely. Agreed.
His ability to come back with a birdie after making a bogey, it's that is just what a skill. What a
I would have to look that up, but the tour does have a bounce back stat. I guarantee if he's not leading it, he's right up there. He has to be.
Yeah.
All right, number 2 here. Bryson not being able to close. Is this a deal or no deal?
The data's telling me it is a deal. It is.
Yeah.
It's a deal. I mean, he was leading on Sunday of the Masters. He was in the lead and fell off. I don't know. It's hard to go against the data. I'm saying it's a deal. That something's going on.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me, man. I mean, he won a U.S. Open last year, right? Didn't he win it in North Carolina at Pinehurst?
He did.
Am I thinking that right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. I wonder if those guys only playing 3 rounds is a factor. They get to that 4th round. It's a 6th or 7th day on the grind. I just wonder if that's having some impact because there haven't been very many live guys close. Have there been any besides Bryson with the U.S. Open?
Such a good question. Rahm hasn't done it.
Was Brooks's wins pre-live?
No, that was post-live, but it was only one. It was the PGA in 2023.
So they had that one.
Yeah.
But
Rahm had not left yet, I don't think, for live, but he won the Masters in 2023. We'll get to him next. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that to me is a little bit of a factor especially with Rahm, I think. But for Bryson specifically, he won, like you said, he won the U.S. Open last year. He had a few tournaments on live this year. Like he was the leader going in the final round several times before he closed the deal at one of them recently. Blew a few leads there. Had the Masters, like you said, he got in the lead and just kind of wilted. Here, I think he had the lead on after 16 on Saturday. So with 20 holes to go, he was leading the tournament. Um, just tons of he smoked the ball off the tee. I think he led the field off the tee,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
so many like 80 to like 120-yard shots that just weren't even close.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Did you see he said he needs a ball that flies straighter.
Yeah,
Like
I
what?
know. Yeah, he blamed it
We
on the
all do.
manufacturing. We all
Oh
do.
goodness.
But it's crazy because he like hits it so long and straight off the tee, and it's like
Yeah, it's
just some
crazy.
shorter clubs he just doesn't have dialed
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I lean no deal just because of the talent, but like I think it's we're at the monitoring stage of this one.
Yeah.
All right, next up, John Rahm's last 72 hole tournament win, as I mentioned, was at the 2023 Masters. Is that a deal or a no deal?
I'll let you go first on this one.
I think it's a deal.
Yeah, I think you just outlined it in the last discussion with Bryson.
Yeah, it's a
I
deal.
I I think those guys traded money for majors, man.
Yeah, I mean Bryson's the only one to lock one up since then, right?
I mean, you
Yeah,
can't fault them. I get that, you know. I mean, generational wealth to play golf. I mean, it's hard to kind of turn down, but I don't know, man. At some point, legacy, you know, that has to be worth something as well. They were already rich, right?
Yeah, I think the general like competitiveness of the tour, like I think there's something about being like competitively sharp that they don't get except for these majors. And I think it's hard to flip that switch, right? Like
Yeah.
you go from like I'm getting a guaranteed payment today or every week that I'm going out there, this doesn't really matter, to trying to beat the best players in the world over 72 holes. It's a different grind. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. We talked a little bit about this above, but Rory's no show. Is this a deal or no deal?
I think it's a deal, man. I think it was clearly he had a monkey on his back. I think the emotion he shared when he won at Augusta, it was a lot of that was real. And dude, it doesn't take much for the monkey to get back on your back, right? It doesn't just because he won the Masters doesn't mean it's going away forever. So part of me wonders if, he got in a bad spot early in the weekend and just couldn't shake it.
Yeah, it's a deal. It's a deal.
I think,
The
go
professional
ahead.
side of him should have still went and done what he needs to do for the golf game, for the fans, for the media, for the TV. And you got to swallow that pill sometimes. You got to take care of your business a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it is a deal, especially like I mentioned before, just the setup, a tournament he's won, or a course he's won at 4 times. Like it all kind of set up. So I don't know if it wasn't, maybe he took it a little too lax, like thinking maybe the monkey is off my back. I can just show up and play this golf course and win on it. Or when you couple it with the weirdness of the media stuff, like I just think there is something there that maybe we don't know. And I don't know, just it was very odd overall to me. Um, and I do look, I got some text about the driver thing. For anybody that doesn't know about this driver testing stuff, it's a little questionable how they do it. For one, Scotty also got dinged for this and had to replace his driver this week, and he won the tournament. So not an excuse for Rory to be able to use, but also this is like a regular thing that happens. They test like a third of the guys' drivers. They can be like literally micrometers off in terms of this rebound effect on the face is what they're testing. And it's a marginal advantage if they are playing with a non-conforming one. But it's so weird that they only do. You're testing 50 guys. There could be 100 guys that have one that's not conforming out there. Then if they didn't test everybody, so I don't know. If it's not a big enough deal for the tour to test all 150 players, I think it's a bit of a non-story. If some people are trying to make it a story, I'm not here for that.
Yeah, I agree. And Scotty said as much at some point in the weekend. I don't know if that was the final press conference or not, but he basically said, test more, test us all. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, because the way these guys get geared, any point they could put something illegal in their bag, right? And if they're not one of the 30, then they could play a tournament or two or more with something that's non-compliant. So,
Right.
but to your point, it's a marginal advantage. So, I don't know.
Yeah, just I don't know. Seems like a weird thing, but it is impressive that Scotty's able to shake something like that off, and maybe lesser players are let it get to him a little bit. So, all right, this was a huge story for the whole week. Uh, mud balls, deal or no deal on mud balls?
Gosh. See, the tradition of the game, you play it like it is. If it's not, if it's not live clean, replace. But man, I think mud balls ought to be wiped off, and I don't think that people should have to hit out of a sand divot if they get in the fairway either.
Okay.
I get the tradition of the game, you do it, but why penalize a guy for hitting the fairway where I'm supposed to go? Makes me think of Shane Lowry. He melted down when he
Ooh,
freaking blasted that fairway. Man,
yeah, he landed in somebody else's ball mark. That just is unbelievable circumstances.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
part of the reason they haven't pushed more in that direction, the pace of play is already an issue, and if you're looking at, I don't, mud balls, divots, landing in somebody else's, ball mark. I mean, uh, I would think at that point it would have an impact on pace of play. But I'm with you, Pat. Man, if you hit a fairway, I don't think you should be penalized with a mud ball or a divot.
yeah,
There's, there's,
I get the tradition, the purist. I'm not arguing that, and if someone said no, I'm not really, like I said, I'm not arguing it. I just think that's kind of a simple, that's straightforward. It's not like I'm not giving you an advantage. I'm just letting you play where your ball should be laying. It's right, and that's why they mow the grass that way. For goodness sakes, that's where you're supposed to be. So,
Yeah, you're convincing me here, Pat. I'm not gonna lie, because my initial thought is like, oh, these pampered tour players can't have mud on their ball, got it, all this, and I'm thinking like, Scotty, if you're the best player in the world, you can find a way to not hit that ball in the water on 16 because you got a mud ball. Um, but you're absolutely right though too. At the same time, like,
I, like I said, I'm not. I wouldn't argue. Like I'm not gonna die on. You and Justin always say that what hill you're gonna die on.
yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't die on that one. But you know what? If you and I were playing Mitch and you stripe one and you ended up in a bad spot, whether it be a ball mark or a divot or on sand, I'm gonna say, dude, just roll it over 2 inches and hit.
right.
Good way to hit a fairway. Now I get it. That's us playing around of golf like that. If it's not playing it down and all that, but that's just to me that's it. It seems an obvious thing. That's an easy, obvious fix. I think.
Yeah, I was a little surprised they didn't go with the lift, clean, and replace ball and hand
With
stuff.
with all that rain, I don't think there'd been any argument other than it's a major and they're trying to be the pure. They wanted the purest of the game, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the thing that if you're looking at it from like a competitive standpoint too, I I think the guys that got mostly got by this, we played the morning wave on Thursday, and as it dried out over the day on Thursday afternoon and stuff, like it didn't. You saw scores got a little bit better even. It's in some cases, so that part of it I think is a pretty good argument for it as well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Part of me really just wants to be like, yeah, just deal with the mud. But your argument is totally logical. All right, last one here. A lot of talk this week about Quail Hollow just as a golf course, as a venue. Is the negativity around PGA Championship venues deal or no deal?
Mm.
Because we had Valhalla last year. People not a fan of that setup, myself included. Um, Quail Hollow, this is the second one they've had in the last 8 years. A regular tour stop. They got a couple good ones coming up. They're going to Aronimink. They've got the new PGA Frisco course down in Texas. They're going to do. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of chatter just around Quail Hollow as a venue and what the perception of the championship's becoming because of some of these courses.
Mm.
well, my pushback might be when you look at the scores from the weekend. I mean, there was a point in the weekend where it felt like a major championship. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Um, what most of the guys ended up finishing in that 4, 5, 6 range. I know Scotty got to double digits, but um, it beats some people up. I mean, those last 3 holes are as tough as it gets anywhere in the world, maybe. Um, I love playing majors at courses we don't see, on
Mhm.
TV
Yeah.
on an annual basis. I love that edge. But if you're going to make an argument for going back to a place the players do play, I think Quail Hollow's top 3 on that list, just because it's a test of golf.
Yeah.
It's, you think it's one of those things where the haters are going to hate regard. There's always going to be some of that ire against it, no matter what they do.
I think so too. I mean, for me, like I'm just like Tom said, I love when we go to tracks that like you don't see often. Like it makes it feel more like a major when it's, you're going to Shinnecock or Oakmont or something like the U.S. Open Rota, right?
Well, I agreed with Justin last week. What was last, the cricket club?
Yeah,
I'm
Philly
trying to say
Cricket Club.
that was cool to see that course, and
Yeah,
they were talking. It's old. That's an old school East Coast. I thought that was kind of fun to watch.
yep. So yeah, there's that part of it. For me, I think it's a deal because I think venues matter just in general. Um, but I don't have. I'm like you, Tom. I don't have the negativity towards Quail Hollow specifically. Valhalla, and having gone there, I don't think that place should host majors. It's just like a less good version of like Muirfield essentially. Um, but like I said, I do think venues matter. I don't hate Quail Hollow as much as others. I just prefer when they don't go to a regular tour
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
All right. Uh, that pretty much does it. We can get into one and done. I need your guys' help. we stink at one and done. We picked Xander Schauffele, like I said, T28. He did get his 6 figures out of that, at least 115,000 added to the bank. We are just way out of it. Haven't even hit 2.5 mil yet. Charles Schwab challenge, excuse me, this week at Colonial, very classic Texas course. You guys got any leans for me here?
I got two guys. They're not front runners. They're just guys that I like this week. Uh, I'm going Ben Griffin
Okay,
and
playing well.
Ricky Fowler. Just have a feeling.
All right.
Okay.
I had 2 names, and then I might throw a third one in there. I really liked the way JT Poston played this weekend.
Yeah.
Back to my point about Quail Hollow just being a really, just an absolute test of golf. And, he was in the mix. I mean, obviously not to win, but he was on my TV a lot Sunday.
Yep.
Hmm.
Um, and at some point, doesn't Daniel Berger have to break through?
Feels like it. He's been playing
He
good golf for a while since the injury now.
And then, dude, I hesitate to say this name out loud, especially on this podcast, but man, Jordan Spieth, I mean, he has to eventually win a golf tournament, right? He's too good not to.
I think I agree with you, obviously. And this would be the place to, really consider it. He's got a tremendous record here. It's in Texas, all the reasons. Um, but man, it's like I just don't know. I truly don't know with Jordan. It's mind blowing. Yeah, my lean initially was also Jordan, like because he's one of the clear favorites in the field. We've already used Scotty. Obviously, we wouldn't use him here anyway. But like, we can pretty much use anyone that's at the top of this odds board right now. Um, and yeah, so I was thinking through Jordan. We also have Aaron Rye and Mav McNeely available. So I'm kind of thinking those. This is a track where you want those guys they're hitting greens, like you just want the green specialist here. Um,
Have you
I,
played the Novak guy yet?
we have not. He shot like an
He
80 something. I don't know if I care
uh,
about
that
that.
that's true, but man, he's had a pretty good 25 season.
He has. Yeah, he's here. He's available.
Andrew Novak, I can't. Is that his first name?
Yep.
Andrew.
He missed the cut last week, but T17, and then he won the team event and came in second at the Heritage the week before that. So yeah, he's a guy that's leveled up this year for sure. I don't hate the Ben Griffin call. He's been playing well. Also, he was Andrew Novak's partner in that team event. Kind of the thing that, so here, help me talk this through. Do I want a guy that was trying to grind on Sunday at the PGA Championship, or do we fear a letdown? So I'm thinking guys like, JT Poston, who, he was out there grinding all weekend. Is that a negative or a positive?
Mm. Is Harris English playing this week? Is he in it?
He is. That's a, if he got
Because there's a
second
guy
place.
kind of peak, and he's playing. That's I don't know.
Well, I think my pushback on JT would be when you look at the names of people that shot positive numbers or missed the cut, uh, he didn't.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Um,
Is it a good, is it a good thing that Jordan Spieth missed the cut and could go home early and focus on this event,
yeah,
or is it a good thing or a better thing that Harris English finished second? JT Poston had that top five. I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to weigh in my head here.
I got you. I got you.
Mm.
I kind of want to get wild here. I'm thinking about Harris English now that you said it, Pat.
He just looked calm and just
He's
played golf.
he's got a couple top tens, right?
Yeah,
Couple top fives, maybe.
he won once already this year at the Farmers, Torrey Pines. And then second this past week, he's got a T11 at the Truist, T12 at the Masters. He's got a couple top 20, the second place here at this course in the past. Yeah,
I think he's a green. He is a green hitter.
he is. Yeah, and
If
he
that's what you
streaky with
were
the
wanting
putter,
to
which
find.
which could be good.
Uh,
We need a miracle, guys. So I'm looking to take some shots.
Well, I would imagine he doesn't get chosen very often. So
No,
you
he's
know,
still
it's
99% available in this one and done.
oh gosh,
Nobody's taking him.
yeah,
Spieth, for example, is 57% available.
yeah. I don't like Jordan this weekend, man. I would need to see a greater stretch of good golf from Jordan before I would choose him.
Yeah,
State of
That's just
Texas, those that's the
yeah,
it's a wild card.
the if factor with him.
yeah. I get that too.
I think I've
Go
talked
with you,
myself into Harris English, guys.
all in.
And this is
Let's do it.
truly the lowest of stakes. So don't even worry if this pick goes badly. But if one of the guys you mentioned does well, then you'll get full credit next week. Don't worry.
We'll
Yeah,
probably all be miscuts, Tom.
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
We just listed off like 6 miscuts. Yeah. Oh man. All right, with that, we're gonna get to a little fan mail real quick. Consummate fan mail expert here, Matt Hinkle wrote in. Last week, Justin and I, we had the Patio Beers question. Justin asked about, if you were designing and naming your own golf course and all that stuff, how
That
you
was a good
design
one.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
loved
was
it.
fun. Good thought exercise. So Hinkle wrote in criticizing my choice of calling my course the Walk, which I've liked more the farther away I got from that episode, by the way.
Yeah, I
He
love it.
says, you got to name your course with the logo in mind and sell the apparel. He's like, I got nothing for the Walk other than block letter hats that you hate, which that's damning. I didn't even think about that. The Walk is a clear letter hat opportunity. We would not have those in the clubhouse at the Walk, though. But on the contrary, I actually think, there's plenty of ways you could go with that logo. I think a good, like, a silhouette of somebody carrying a golf bag. That's a classic one you could do. Maybe something like sort of, I don't know, like a walking trail, some sort of, sometimes you'll see like a river kind of, logo, something like that. I think you could do with a
Absolutely.
trail.
Yeah.
There's lots of ways we could do this for sure. Do you guys have any golf course names that you would throw out there?
Oh goodness.
It was hard thinking of it on the spot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think of it at all. I don't have something in the tip of my tongue.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love the farm at the end, something farm.
yeah,
Especially if it was like you bought a plot of land that was somebody's farm.
sure.
I think mine would be something farm. Um, yeah, but I haven't thought about it since. But that was a great question though.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, it is time. You guys have made it to a patio beer segment.
Hey, got my hat on.
Pat's
Look at
representing
that.
just beautiful, beautiful product placement there. You guys are the guests, so I'm going to toss it to the both of you first. Which one of you wants to go first here?
Go ahead,
Shoot
Pat.
it,
I'll let you
Tommy.
set the
All
I'll
right.
let you set the tone. Go for it, man.
All right, so Tom and I, we have one that he's going to throw out that we thought everybody can kind of weigh in on. I was thinking of a funny one. All right, so how about this? You're the guy who just bought that new $600 driver, whatever brand, doesn't matter. You just bought your new driver. You're playing with your golf buddies that you play 90% of your golf with, and your buddy says, "Hey man, let me hit your new driver." Do you say, if you mark it, you buy it? If you sky market, you have to buy it. Or do you say, no, you can't hit it? And if you're the guy wanting to borrow it and swing it the first time and you do sky market, do you feel obligated that you should buy it? Because I know we've all said that stuff. You mark it, you buy it. So is that a thing or not a thing?
Oh man, that has to be a thing, and I will tell you why. So this must have been just after high school. I'm playing with my buddies, playing with a guy who was like, him and I were pretty close in skill level in high school. Maybe one of us could beat the other on any given day. We were playing together, and we get to the 18th hole, and he has been driving the piss out of it all day long. Wasn't a brand new club by any means or anything like that, but it was a new driver to him. And I was like, dude, you got to let me hit this thing. Like, I don't understand how you're doing this today. Like, I just need to see for myself. It was an old Cobra of some kind. I forget what kind it was. I take the driver from him, and you know how you'll go to tee a ball on the ground, and maybe you'll lean on your driver or whatever a little bit to, just a little resistance.
Oh boy.
I bent over, put the tee in the ground, leaning on the club, and the head snapped right off. I barely put any pressure on this thing, and the head snapped right off of it. And these were before it was like, the adapters and the adjustability, whatever. So this thing was an epoxied in, whatever. Couldn't believe it happened. Shook me. I had no idea what to do or say. He was super gracious about it. He actually worked at the course we were playing at, so he was like, able to work with the pro there and whatever, figure out something on that. But to this day, he still holds it over my head that happened. And looking back, I'm a poor college kid. Like, I didn't offer to pay. I didn't, try to do anything to make it better. Just let him handle it, which is not the right move. I should have been a part of getting that thing fixed. But yeah, there's definitely if you break it, you buy it rule that has to be in play. I agree.
Yeah, there's a couple categories of people. There's people that you would say yes to.
Yeah.
There's people you would say no to. And then there's people you would say heck no to.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure. There's a certain level I think that we all have in our head of who we're gonna let hit that club. Oh, so good.
Yeah, so is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitch, can I ask two questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't have a question, to be honest with you. I dropped the ball here, so let's just chat.
All right. So the question that Pat and I talked about last night was, what's your favorite at our golf course at the Hamilton Elks? What is your favorite hole, and what is your most hated hole?
God, there's 27 of them, so it makes it harder.
You want to do it per nine? What's your best and worst white,
We
red,
could do it
white,
that
and
way.
blue?
That's fine. For red, man, red. It's hard not to say 5 is the most hated, just because it's like hard. It's a long ass par 3. It's hard to hit that green. Like that hole will give you fits. But I kind of find I don't like 4 on red.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially if they're gonna move the tee box over left. Like, it makes that tee shot just like no fun. It takes the risk reward out, because some guys like to try to push it down that corner a little bit.
What did you say last week? You hit a piece of sheet metal or something in the
Dude,
woods?
I hit a million anything. It was cart path, tree, sheet. I don't know what my ball hit, but it just hit everything on the way to rest. So yeah, that hole, it should not be as difficult as it is for me, especially because I usually hit it right to left, but I never score well on that hole. So that one gets me. I like, man, what's my favorite on that hole or on that side? Probably six. I think six, the long par five. Uh, Challenging tee shot, but a good scoring opportunity if you do hit a good one. And that green is like it's dealer's choice depending on where that pin is on what you're looking at. I think it's a great combo of like risk reward, and it could be really tough that day, or it's a scoreable hole.
Yeah.
What about you guys on red? We'll go by 9 first.
I always score well on 1 and 7, or at least I feel like I do.
Yeah.
I think seven's probably my favorite for scoring well. And the par five that you just made sound so glowing, you could take that and put dynamite all the way down it, and I will push the freaking plunger on that thing and blow it off the earth. That
Yeah.
hole eats my lunch.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, Mitch, it's really interesting that you said 4 because when I think about red, I love the red golf course.
Yeah.
It's tied for my favorite with the blue. I hate the white 9. It beats me up every time I play it. But one of my favorite tee shots at the Hamilton Elks is number 4. I always
Wow.
hit 5-iron, and I love to aim 5-iron right off the edge of that tree and just a little bit of curve, or if it cuts, you still got a wedge into that green, wedge-ish into that green, and that's one of my favorite tee shots. 5 has to be. I mean, it's. I hate that hole. I hate that tee shot from the blue tee box, which is where we play. When
Yep.
we're not playing in some tournament out there. 210, 215, even 200 is that's just a tough number, right? To your uh,
And
shot miss is
that
just so
false
much
front gets
bigger.
you,
Any
rolls all the
chunky
way
shot,
back down.
yeah,
Yeah.
any chunky shot's going to be short. Um,
The hole's just not
so
visually appealing either. That's the thing about 5.
well, and for those of us that have a tendency to hit the ball, I wouldn't say right to left, even a pull at times, especially the higher you get in the bag, it bring those woods, down there in the valley, they're close.
Yes,
It's
they
in
are.
play for sure. I've been over there a few times for sure.
Yep. All right. For white, non-hole and one-hole division aside, so here's my thing with the white course, just general statement. Uh, I think I love it because of the challenge of it. Like it might be my favorite side, but it is by far the one I play the worst. For the same reason. Um, Hole I like the least. I guess I'm with the sixes. 6 is just. I don't think the tee shot's not fair. I don't think. Like it for someone that hits it, a decent a bit, like it's not fun to take driver out of your hand on a par 5, and sometimes you just can't hit driver there because the trouble's right where you're going to land it.
Well,
And
I would
when
say from
and,
late
and
May
later in the
on,
summer when it
yeah.
dries up, it just rolls all. Yeah, you're in bad shape, man. You run out of room fast.
Yeah, so if those creeks weren't there, I think I would like it more. But I think that hole for that reason, and honestly, even 8, like I hate the tee shot on 8 too. I can never seem to club that one right. Um, I've thought about just hitting driver and just sending it past that tree. It's a short 4 but because the landing area, it squeezes in so tight there. If you're going to hit an iron or a hybrid or whatever, that like you're just as likely to mess up trying to play it safe. So that hole gets me a little bit too. I think 2 on white's the best hole. That's a par 5. Kind of goes downhill. You've got a good scoring opportunity there. There is OB up the right, which is a little unfortunate. I'm not a big OB fan in general. But I think that's a good hole of, you hit a good tee shot, you've got a good chance.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Mitch. Number 2, that tee shot into the smokestacks, and then the second shot down the hill.
Yeah.
I love playing that par 5, although I've been over in the graveyard more times than I like to recall. But
I was there
uh,
yesterday.
yeah, and I'm with you, man. The tee shot at 6, the number of times that I've played it from those trees over on the left,
Ugh.
and even honestly, even if you hit a good tee shot, that visually that second shot I know it's not tight, but it feels tight. You know what I mean? And so it's in play when you're over the ball. Like, all right, I need to hit this at least 200 to where the shot dispersion gets wide enough to to kind of be safe. But
Yeah.
it'd be 2 and 6 for me.
Yep.
I was going to say one comment on 2. It's also one of the biggest parodies from blue to white.
Yeah.
White gets that's a big bonus. Sometimes the Elks, what we get like a 5 to 8 yard difference. That one's substantial. Par 5
Yeah,
changer.
yeah, for
When we
sure.
play like league night from the white
Yeah.
to blue. For me, I like number uh, is 5 the par 3 over the valley.
Oh
Yep.
man, you're
I I for some reason that hole sets up well to my eye. I probably hit that green more. Um, I don't know. Something looks right for that to me on that one. And I'm just number one makes me I'm clenched up on that box every time I get to one. I don't know why, but I know why
yeah.
because and I wait for the traffic to clear too. I wait for the stoplight just in case.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thought over the ball, but I think anybody listening to this that knows what we're talking about, I bet they've had that thought. So
Oh,
Well, then
100%.
the new tee box looks amazing too.
yes, very good job. A shout out to all the work that the folks have done there. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's for those listening. That's the Tractor Supply hole. So
Yeah.
the fear is necessary there. I do think that tee shot plays tricks on your eyes because you got the trees on the left there, and obviously the hole goes right to left. If you're a cutter of the ball, those trees up the left are in your head. But also if you're a drawer of the ball, where a little bit of a pull and you're right into the bad stuff over there. So that is a tough, demanding tee
And it's
shot.
hard to get out of that tree line. There's some places where you can punch out. That one's a tough one,
Yeah,
I think.
I agree with you. And then heading over to blue, I think a clear favorite hole for me is 8. It's a dogleg left par 4 down a hill into the valley. I love that tee shot. It's just like so many ways you can go about it. If you got enough to cut the corner over that bunker, you can go for it and take it on there. Or you can play out. The farther right you go, the safer it is, but it's also a longer approach coming in. So I like that challenge on that hole. And then you've got the downhill to play with too. And it's also really weird because the wind will die down there. So you can feel the wind up on the hill and you play for it sometimes and it doesn't affect your ball the same way. So that's an intriguing hole. I hate 7, the par 3 up the hill there. Just
I,
diabolical green.
I second that. I second that.
The the bunker front left, like you can't see the pin, the bottom of the pin. It's just a really hard golf shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, for favorite, it would be a hard fought battle between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Um, just playing around the water there. Our golf course doesn't have much water to speak of. Visually, there's just two great looking holes.
Very pretty.
I always seem to play 3 pretty good. Number 2, as long as your ball isn't in the water, it's pretty easy to make a par there. Pretty easy green, one of the bigger greens on the golf course. Um, Least favorite for me would be 6 because
Mm.
I think 6 is a legit big boy par 4 from the back tee box.
Yeah. That's a brute.
420. Oftentimes you'll be in a little bit of a breeze, so it plays longer than that. There's some pin placements on 6 that can just be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Once you get to the green, the adventure's just now starting. Yeah.
yeah, and if you're on the left and the green and the pin is on the left side of the green, it's double. I mean, you're making a double most of the time because you can't get the chip close enough. You know what I mean? Unless you
No.
get lucky, and drop it real short and it trickles on, you might have a shot. But I think for me, it'd be least favorite be 6. But I love the blue 9.
Yeah, I think the blue 9 doesn't get the pub that the red and white do, but that it's like such a good third course to have, and I think it plays just differently enough from the other two, but also it's not out of place. It fits in with the other 18.
Yeah, agreed.
I do want to shout out hole 4 on blue is also that actually might be my true I hate that hole.
The
Um,
leapfrog, I call it the leapfrog hole.
Yeah, there's force. It's like you have a force carry and a force keep it short of creek, with trees on both sides, and one side's out of play, the others you're just in that's like the densest little bunch of trees that you really can't get out of. So yeah,
Yeah,
that hole's ugh.
yeah,
Because if you're punching out on 4 from those trees, you can't. Even if you can go forward, you have to minimize your punch out, or you'll go into the second trash, the valley,
Yeah,
second red stake penalty.
absolutely.
So yeah, four for me is a tough one, and I like 8 as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I think 8 feel. I feel like you can take a swat at it there, and if you go left, you can still play. Unless you go crazy right, you're still in play.
Yeah.
yeah. When we're placing Pat's plaque at the Elks,
Hmm.
it's going to be short of number 7 and on the right, somewhere
That
over there in
that
that
waist
general
area, that
vicinity.
yep, yep.
Oh.
That's the 5-4 creek.
Oh man. So I'll find a lot of big pat balls over there is what you're telling me?
Yep.
Yeah.
I might as well just drive or walk up, throw one in, then chip on the green with another ball and just be as happy.
Yeah. Hey, one fun other question I thought of today. If golf, like baseball, had walk-up music, what would be your walk-up song to the tee box?
Man, that's a classic one that I feel like I've been asked that before, but I never have a great answer for it. And it like part of me, like, back in college we'd do walk up songs to wiffle ball games, out in the out in the green or whatever. I always used the drum solo from In the Air Tonight was mine, every
Yeah.
time there. I don't know if that still holds up to this day, but that could be an answer for that. Um, my problem is, like, you guys have listened, like I talked about this before, like I'm not like a huge music guy, so I don't have like a man that's my favorite band and like I want to use this deep cut from them or whatever. Um, so I struggle with this question for that exact reason. Do you guys have a clear answer?
I guess my serious one would be a peaceful, easy feeling.
Oh,
So you relax up there.
yeah.
And then if I was Tommy Turndog on 16 trying to get that good score, that's probably Crazy Train going off the rails. Crazy Train.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
Oh,
Yeah, I love music, man, and I have different seasons of my life where I've been into different genres of music, and my all-time favorite band's U2, and
Yeah.
I think my walk-up song would be "Beautiful Day."
Oh, such a banger. Love that song.
do
I
you
think
and Mitch, do you and Justin and Gunth, your golf group, do you guys play and listen to music while you're golfing, or do you not? Are you not music guys?
no, we do for sure.
You do.
Yeah, big fans of music on the course. And
Same.
it's always a good like tone setter or vibe setter, it's the playlist is different depending on how everybody's feeling. If it's not working out, we change the playlist, it's you got to go with the vibes of the day.
What's the favorite playlist for your group?
Man, so like I said, it kind of depends on the vibes. We've kind of been into there's a couple. Gunt stumbled upon this like I think it's called Country Down Under. It's like a SoundCloud mix. Somebody from Australia like did like this like techno country mix or mashup. There's a couple different volumes of it. We've listened to that quite a bit within the last few years. I know Justin's a big hip hop guy, so you'll hear that a lot from him. We always make fun of Ryan because his like it's changed over the years, but he used to have like a very like it was like all emo plus Eminem. So it was just like Linkin Park and Eminem like all day long. And we just give him shit for that. But yeah, I think we're all. If I had to pick a genre, like classic rock tends to be like the songs of summer kind of stuff. So a lot of classic rock. And to roundabout answer your question, Tom, I think I would pick Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. That would be
Yeah,
my walk
Good
up.
one. Good
yeah,
one.
Um,
Good one.
Led Zeppelin always makes me think of my dad. He was a huge Zeppelin, or he is a huge Zeppelin fan. So it's a combo of like a good pump up and good memories.
awesome.
Yep.
Well, I feel like I can't let you guys out of here without asking a question. So I'm just going to kind of rinse and repeat from last week. Hopefully, you guys had time to think about this. Obviously, Justin going on this trip, huge bucket list thing for him. So I'm curious, what's on your guys'? It can be your actual bucket list, your golf bucket list, however you want to distinguish that. Or have you checked any of aces aside? Have you checked any other ones off? Maybe.
I was blessed and lucky enough to actually play Pebble Beach some 2 summers ago.
That's a big one.
So that was, and that kind of fell in kind of yeah, that it wasn't my plan, but it was always a kind of a bucket list to, I don't know, just Pebble Beach, right?
Yeah.
So I did do that, but um Tom and I and a couple of our other friends, we've actually talked about trying to put together going where Justin is and,
Yeah.
and making that trip once. So for me, that would be my goal for a bucket list far out.
Yep.
Yeah, great question, man. Um, I, I know it's a stock answer. I hate to even give it, especially since it's recorded and will live forever. But Bandon Dunes just looks like
I know.
just an unbelievable place to play golf. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know if I'll ever get there, but just it just looks unbelievable. It's in my socials, and actually we had a trip on the calendar and didn't realize we had a 6-month date to call ahead and didn't realize it needed to be longer than that. This was when Bandon's
Mm,
was lore was kind of growing.
Kind of laughed at us. They go, "That's within 6 months. You need to be 18 to months, or a year and a half to 2 years."
You know,
yeah.
one of the things that we've tried to spark up is just the whole idea of golf trip.
Mhm.
Maybe once a year, every other year, just plan, an extended weekend, get somewhere that, where, that's beyond driving distance. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how the golf calendar fills up over the next couple of years with, maybe something over the pond. There's just so many great places to go and stay and play, and, Arizona, Vegas, even up in Wisconsin, there's some fantastic courses that,
Yeah.
I see stuff all the time, like Utah and, up in Pacific Northwest. Uh, I, I'd have to give the bucket list some real specific thought, but being on a golf trip with, 3 or 4 rounds on the calendar anywhere would be bucket list for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's always, yeah, there's nothing like having a golf trip on the calendar. It will consume you in the best way, just knowing that date's marked down. So I'm with you. Yeah. I mean, I said it last week. Mine, obviously, the Scotland trip, like playing the old course, I think is probably the peak of it. Outside of that, I think it's, Tom, you mentioned going to Bandon's kind of like that. I think that would be my preferred. Like if I could only pick one resort place to play in the U.S., that would be the tops. Closely behind, I think, would be Pinehurst. Probably would be up next, but yeah, I
Yeah,
getting
for
to
sure.
Scotland and Bandon are the top two for me in terms of golf travel. All right, well, fellas, I think we did it. We
Well,
just like that, it's over. 90 minutes in. This was a pleasure. I sincerely appreciate you guys jumping on and spending an hour and a half with me tonight.
Yeah, it
I
was our
hope we did.
pleasure, man.
I hope we did our. I hope we didn't let you down. I hope we did our part.
No,
So,
absolutely. This has been great. I look, Justin might need to worry about his job security after tonight. That's
well, listen,
Yeah,
I can tell you, we enjoy listening because
yeah,
we're closing in on a year with you guys. Basically, it was right
yeah,
at the Stampede time is when we learned about it, and yeah, we've been listening every week.
that's awesome. You guys got in at the right time after we worked out a lot of the kinks. We were a year in at that point, so you've been on the good part of the journey. But
love it.
yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you all for listening. Thank you again to Pat and Tom for joining me tonight. If you could please smash that like button, subscribe, rate, review the show, follow us on social media at Back96Pack. Send us some fan mail. Shows are that's always down in the show description. Just click that link. Let us know what question you want to ask. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.